At the beginning of the movie, there's a wedding happening, narrated by the female lead, Yin Shu, and her husband, Sinan. She says this wedding looks happy, but it's actually just a trick to fool everyone. The story goes back to when they first met at a coffee shop. By accident, Yin Shu stepped on Sinan's foot. While she was frozen, staring at Sinan's amazing looks, he pushed her away and pulled out a tissue. She thought he was giving it to her, but Sinan bent down to wipe the dirt off his own shoe. Yin Shu felt deflated and looked at him with contempt. Not only that, Sinan also told her she was slow and to move somewhere else after she finished ordering. Because he's a perfectionist, Sinan even wrote his own drink recipe and gave it to the barista. When he saw the staff seemed hesitant and then even put in a type of sugar he didn't like, he went behind the counter himself to make it. Yin Shu stood outside and said if he wasn't drinking it, to give it to her. Then she paid, grabbed the coffee cup, and left, not forgetting to give Sinan a glare. The scene shifts to a university lecture hall, and it turns out Sinan is a lecturer there. He walks into class and introduces himself, then lays out a bunch of rules he's set, which makes the students groan. But because of how handsome he is, they don't really pay attention to it anymore. Who would have thought that Yin Shu was also a student in this class? Seeing that the teacher was the person she had been rude to at the coffee shop, Yin Shu didn't dare to look him directly in the face. While she was fidgeting, drawing, and smiling to herself, Sinan discovered her. He walked over, picked up her drawing, and even said, if you're not going to draw, then don't. If you draw, it has to be accurate. He had 2 buttons on his shirt, but she drew 3, and his watch was on his left wrist, but she drew it on his right. After being called out in front of the class, Yin Shu was so embarrassed that she buried her face in her arms on the desk. Back in her dorm room, still confused about the person she had met today, Yin Shu's friend, Ji arrived. Completely flustered by Sinan's good looks, she told Yin Shu to take her along next time she had that class, so she could get a look at him. The next day, at a job interview, Yin Shu was feeling down in the bathroom after being rejected for the 7th time when she met a woman who walked in, looking annoyed because her shirt was dirty. Seeing that the woman said she had an important meeting, Yin Shu helped her turn the stain into a portrait, which greatly amused the woman. Just as she was about to leave, the company secretary called her back because the director agreed to let her stay and work. It turned out the person she had helped earlier was the director of this company. While she was sleeping, she received a call from her sister. After that, she went to the bank to look at some wealth management packages. Coincidentally, she ran into Sinan there too. Then he stood up, just when she thought she had successfully avoided him. Sinan suddenly handed Yin Shu a piece of paper and said that with her economic mind, she should buy a wealth management package rather than real estate. After being confused by Sinan's actions, she decided not to buy anything at the bank anymore and instead went to her cousin, who worked in real estate. After listening to her cousin's advice, Yin Shu decided to buy a house and then went to share the good news with her 2 friends. While she was totally wasted, Yin Shu got a call from her cousin saying that if she didn't sign and pay the deposit today, the house would be sold to someone else. But coincidentally, today was also the day Yin Shu had to defend her graduation thesis. Yin Shu drove straight to her cousin's place and then rushed back to school. Just as they were about to transfer the ownership to someone else, she arrived. She was in such a hurry that she even bumped into Sinan, who was on the phone outside. After she finally got in, Sinan told Yin Shu that her thesis defense qualification had been canceled because she was 57 seconds late. He absolutely refused to let her continue. Yin Shu was scrutinized so much that tears welled up in her eyes, and she left feeling wronged. While she was complaining to her 2 friends, she suddenly remembered her job. But when she got there, they said they couldn't hold the job until she got her diploma. Pushing aside the sadness of losing her job and her degree, Yin Shu happily skipped to the housing complex she had bought from her cousin. She happily walked inside, admiring her long-dreamed-of house, and even recorded a video to send to her sister. While she was exploring her room, the door suddenly opened. The familiar figure was Sinan. Both of them were stunned by each other's presence in the house. Sinan was even shirtless, only wrapped in a towel. Yin Shu's mouth hung open, and her hands were busy snapping pictures. Flashing back to a week earlier, Sinan received news from the doctor that his grandfather had stage 4 lymphoma and only had a year left. While he was alone at the movie theater, feeling emotional, he suddenly heard a strange sound, which scared him so much that he couldn't even cry anymore. Suddenly, Yin Shu popped up from the row behind, talking on the phone in a sleepy voice. Then she was looking for her shoe. Sinan picked up a shoe and asked if it was hers. As she was about to go to Sinan to get it, he just tossed the shoe straight at her. Once she got it, she said goodbye to him and left. Sinan was also confused and bewildered by this girl. Back to the scene in the new house, he was wondering about Yin Shu claiming it was her home. An item fell from a shelf, and as Sinan protected Yin Shu, his towel slipped down. At this moment, Yin Shu finally came to her senses and quickly looked down, rushing outside. But then she came back, wanting to talk things through clearly because she was sure she hadn't gone into the wrong room. Inside the house, Sinan showed her the house deed, while Yinshu could only produce the contract she signed when she made the deposit and photos of the land use documents. Then Sinan said she might have been scammed, and he explained why she was able to unlock his house. After a few basic moves, the key Yinshu possessed became useless. Sinan didn't forget to tell her to delete the pictures on her phone from earlier and even demanded her phone to check for sure. After Yinshu truly realized she had been scammed by her cousin, she went all the way to the company, but they said they didn't have any employees who looked like him. After being scammed out of all the money she had, Yinshu could only call her two friends. The two friends said Yinshu should go talk to her cousin's parents, but being too kind, she said she didn't want to affect his parents' health. Hearing that, her two friends were too annoyed to say anything more. Then they temporarily transferred some money to Yinshu to get by. Following her two friends' advice, Yinshu went the next day to beg Sinan to go with her to the police station, but before she could even finish her sentence, she was refused. He also said it had nothing to do with him, then gave a bunch of reasons that made Yinshu helplessly give up and leave. Yinshu went to the parking lot and asked the security guard about Sinan's car, determined to make him go to the police station with her. She put her foot on his car and said he absolutely had to go with her, otherwise she wouldn't let him get in the car. After witnessing Yinshu's stubbornness for a while, Sinan agreed to go with her, but first, he had to go to the hospital. When he pressed his car key, Sinan's car was the one next to it, not the one Yinshu was stepping on, which made her a bit embarrassed. She also hooked her bag strap on the mirror, causing both of them to fall on top of each other. At the hospital, the doctor updated Sinan on his grandfather's condition. Looking at his grandfather in the hospital room, he just stood there and then quietly left. Outside, he saw Yinshu bustling about. He urged her to get in the car to the police station. When they arrived, as soon as the police said that scamming Yinshu out of $2 million could result in over 10 years in prison, Yinshu walked out. Sinan went out and saw her sitting in a corner. When he asked what was wrong, Yinshu said she didn't want this matter to ruin her cousin's life. Sinan couldn't understand why this girl was so kind. He said he wanted to be WeChat friends with her and that he would send Yinshu the report of this scam. He wouldn't go with her anymore after this. He even gave her a business card for a law firm if she needed it. Just as he was about to leave, Sinan asked her whether one should lie or not. After she explained it to him, Yinshu also asked if he had ever lied before. She even said that someday he would definitely encounter a situation where he would have to lie. Since she was a graduating student, Yinshu wasn't allowed to stay in the dorms, so she went to Ji's dorm. The next morning, the dorm manager came question them. Not wanting to affect her friend, Yinshu hastily said she would move out soon. Then her friend Lin said he would arrange a place for her to stay at the hospital. While walking around, she accidentally tripped over an old man lying under a chair. After pulling him out from under the chair, she learned that he had hidden a pack of cigarettes there and crawled under to get them, but couldn't get out. The two talked very happily, then even asked her if she had a boyfriend and wanted to introduce his grandson to her, which made Yinshu blush. Afterward, the nurse came to take him away. Yinshu happily wished him a speedy recovery and said he would definitely meet his granddaughter-in-law. Yinshu's friend also led her to the place he had arranged for her to stay. The scene changes to Sinan visiting his grandfather at the hospital. Coincidentally, he was the same person Yinshu had talked to earlier. The doctor talked about proposing surgery for his grandfather, but he was extremely worried and hesitant because he knew the success rate of the surgery was extremely low. Sitting by his grandfather's bedside, Sinan said that his condition was improving and the risk was small. Knowing that Sinan was a person who always pursued perfection in detail, his grandfather didn't believe his vague words. He said he didn't want surgery because he was afraid that if he passed away, he wouldn't witness him finding someone who loved him, nor would he be able to see him happy at the altar. After their heart-to-heart, his grandfather decided to sign the consent form for the surgery, which made Sinan extremely happy because he had promised his grandfather that he would bring his girlfriend when he had the surgery. That lie made him very awkward. While fumbling around, he ran to the nurse and asked her to be his girlfriend, offering to pay her. Hearing that, she called him crazy, glared at him, and left. He was embarrassed and looked around. Just then, he saw Yinshu, so he called her and said he wanted her to be his girlfriend to help him fulfill a benevolent lie. Before Yinshu could even fully process it, Sinan grabbed her hand and ran. Yinshu pulled her hand away and said she couldn't help Sinan because it was far beyond a benevolent lie that she had told her before. Just then, Sinan's grandfather was brought out, ready for surgery. Sinan ran to encourage him, but when asked about his girlfriend, he didn't know what to say. Yinshu recognized the grandfather and remembered their earlier encounter in the hospital garden. The grandfather said his last wish was to see his grandson find someone who loved him. She quickly ran to his side, claiming to be Sinan's girlfriend. The grandfather was overjoyed to see her and said he truly felt at ease. Seeing Sinan looked stressed, Yinshu got him a cup of coffee, and they sat outside together, waiting for the surgery to finish. After talking, Sinan learned that Yin Shu was staying at the hospital because she had nowhere else to live and no money left to rent a place. He looked apologetic, admitting that his personal matters during her thesis defense had affected her and caused her to fail. Being as kind-hearted as Yin Shu was, she didn't hold a grudge and even admitted she also had her own issues, which led to the situation. The doctor came out and announced that the surgery was very successful, so there was no need to worry anymore. Sinan was so happy that he didn't notice Yin Shu had already left. He ran to look for her and found her pulling her suitcase, saying she was leaving. Sinan offered to let her stay at his place for a month, and even told her his house code was the first 10 digits of the Fibonacci sequence, which left Yin Shu confused. After trying the code until she was exhausted, she finally received a text from Sinan reminding her of those 10 numbers. Stepping inside the house, she was surprised by Sinan's meticulous cleanliness and neatness. When Sinan got home, he saw Yin Shu sprawled on the sofa with a messy pile of things around her. He went into the room to get a blanket to cover her. As he covered her, he probably thought her face was hard to look at, so he covered her completely to make it less uncomfortable. In her daze, Yin Shu even dreamed of her cousin, looking very trustworthy, coming to give her the house deeds. Seeing Yin Shu stir, he thought she was having trouble breathing, so Sinan gently pulled the blanket down. But suddenly, she screamed, startling him and causing him to drop the pretzel stick he was holding into Yin Shu's mouth. When he tried to take it out, she woke up and headbutted him, making his nose bleed. Suddenly, Yin Shu's sister called, wanting to see the house, but Yin Shu just vaguely introduced it and hung up. Sinan walked out of the bathroom and said he had something to talk about with Yin Shu. What followed was a series of rules he set for her while living with him. Yin Shu immediately felt exhausted, but could only nod in agreement. The next morning, Sinan woke up early, folded his blankets, brushed his teeth thoroughly, while Yin Shu was still tossing and turning in bed. Startled awake, she checked her phone, then clutched her stomach and ran to the bathroom. Sinan said it wasn't time yet, and she couldn't go in because the rules clearly stated she could use the bathroom after 8 a.m., but it was only 7:30. Seeing Yin Shu wailing, Sinan opened the door and told her she had 3 minutes. Before he could even finish, Yin Shu slammed the door shut, pushing him out. For a perfectionist like Sinan, watching her make breakfast was utterly unbearable. After seeing Yin Shu's microwaved milk and burnt toast, Sinan decided to make breakfast himself. Realizing the inconvenience of living together, Yin Shu went to a real estate agent, hoping to find a cheap apartment to rent, and was told to come back in a week. Sinan received a call from the hospital that after his grandfather woke up, he was very unstable and needed a sedative, so he rushed there. At the hospital, the doctor said there was no need for the injection anymore because his grandfather had calmed down once his girlfriend arrived. Sinan was very surprised to hear that. He walked into the room and saw his grandfather talking with Yin Shu. After Yin Shu went out to get water, the grandfather said he wanted the two of them to get married, but Sinan disagreed and explained some terms to him, which caused the grandfather's blood pressure to rise. Yin Shu just returned. Without knowing what was going on, she saw that the grandfather wasn't well and immediately said that as long as he recovered well, they would agree to anything he wanted. Sinan was silent at this point, turning to look at Yin Shu with a puzzled expression. On the way back, Yin Shu only then heard Sinan talk about the marriage issue from earlier. She was extremely flustered, even thinking Sinan had deliberately tried to trap her into marrying him from the start. He said how could she, being a student, always come to such unfounded conclusions, then said he would quickly figure out a solution to this, fearing that dragging it out would cause more trouble. The next day, Yin Shu went to the hospital to visit the grandfather and saw many people sitting there. The grandfather told her that they only came to him for money, so he didn't care about them. Yin Shu was about to confess to him about the relationship between Sinan and herself, but the grandfather seemed to realize it, so he interrupted Yin Shu and pulled her out to introduce her to everyone as Sinan's soon-to-be fiancée, leaving her speechless. The grandfather successfully thwarted Sinan's intentions with a joyful expression. Lin Nu happened to overhear the conversation between Yin Shu and Sinan's aunt and thought that Yin Shu was pregnant with Sinan's child, and even called her friend Ji to tell her. Hearing that, Ji abandoned her boyfriend and rushed over to question Yin Shu about it. Her friend advised Yin Shu to get married, but Lin Nu disagreed and asked if she knew about Yin Shu being scammed out of her money. Yin Shu even intended to use this marriage to cover up the scam. As soon as it was mentioned, Yin Shu's sister called to say she was coming back to the country and wanted to stay with Yin Shu, which made her very anxious. Yin Shu went to the law office that Sinan had previously recommended to her for help, but she received information that the lawyer had gone on a business trip and wouldn't be back for another month. Another person said they could help her, but the service fee was $30,000. Seeing her difficulty, he reduced it to $25,000, but she still didn't have the money. In the hospital, the grandfather told Sinan that Yin Shu had met their relatives and urged him to quickly get married, but he said they needed time. He also said that the two of them were not compatible for marriage, and the grandfather asked him to prove it. That evening, Yin Shu went to find Sinan, wanting to talk to him. Sinan suddenly asked Yin Shu how tall and heavy she was. He also pushed her hair back and touched her ear. Yin Shu was in a romantic setting. Then Sinan complained that she had no earwax, which made her lose her romantic mood. Sinan said he was researching her genes to see if their future children would have any genetic defects, fearing she would get the wrong idea. He also said he was only doing it to prove to his grandfather that they were not compatible. He also made her take a 60-question IQ test. While having dinner together, Yin Shu thanked Sinan for recommending a good law firm to her. After hearing Yin Shu say that she had paid a $10,000 deposit to that lawyer Lu, but had not signed a power of attorney, he had a bad feeling and told her to come with him to that law office the next day. Perhaps fearing Yin Shu's worry, he told her to go home first. Then he asked someone to investigate the lawyer who had talked to Yin Shu the day before. Back in her room, she then asked Yin Shu about finding that lawyer, and then they called him but were told the phone number didn't exist. Knowing immediately what the problem was, Yin Shu was again stunned for the nth time. The grandfather in the hospital was listening to see Nan prove that Yin Shu's IQ and personality were severely deficient, so the two were not suitable for marriage. But the grandfather didn't care, and even said that those things were precisely what Sinan lacked, and they needed to complement each other. That's why Yin Shu and Nan were even more suitable for marriage. Sinan used his connections to find out and went to the place where that lawyer was continuing to scam other girls. When he heard Yin Shu's name, he froze for many seconds. The doctor called Nan to the hospital, reporting that his grandfather's condition was not good. He only had about a year left, so the family needed to prepare themselves. At the same time, Yin Shu also arrived, saying the grandfather had called her. The grandfather handed them a piece of paper with a list of things to buy. He also told Nan to use his perfect vision to see imperfect people. As someone who always relied on logic and calculations for everything, Nan was stunned to see Yin Shu buy things based on intuition and be so confident in her choices. He even told her that she had saved a lot of time compared to when he went to the supermarket alone. An old lady at the checkout said she forgot her money and wanted to borrow some from Yin Shu, promising to pay her back later. Sinan said the lady wouldn't pay her back, but Yin Shu insisted on lending her the money. On the way back, after waiting for a long time and not seeing the old lady, Sinan scolded Yin Shu, telling her she needed to learn how to observe and sense things around her. She couldn't just live and keep getting scammed like that. Just as he finished speaking, the old lady appeared. Yin Shu told him that there was still a lot of warmth in the world. Sinan took $10,000 from his pocket, which he had recovered from that lawyer, and gave it to Yin Shu, lying that the lawyer said he was too busy to handle Yin Shu's case and had returned the money to her. Yin Shu happily took the money and told Nan she thought she had been scammed. Looking at the innocent and kind girl in front of him, Sinan told her they would get married. Yin Shu, half asleep, nodded in agreement. After a few seconds of wide-eyed surprise, she gasped, thinking she had misheard, but Sinan repeated that they would get married. Back home, Yin Shu wondered why Sinan agreed to compromise on getting married. He said it would help them solve their immediate problems. Their relationship would only be a contractual one, and he even said that if she agreed to this contract, he could transfer the house title to her. Yin Shu disagreed, saying it was beyond her imagination. Furthermore, she didn't even have a boyfriend, so she couldn't do something like that just for a house. Sinan didn't say much when he heard her say that. The next day, Yin Shu went to her two close friends to confide in them. Lin Nu vehemently opposed it, while Ji Yi fully agreed with this marriage. After a few sentences, the two started arguing, giving Yin Shu a headache. She received a call to view a house for only 500 yuan, then went home to pack her things and move out. Just as he walked in, Sinan saw Yin Shu pulling her suitcase. Sinan asked her where she was going, and Yin Shu replied that she didn't want to bother him anymore, that she had found a place and was moving out. As he saw Yin Shu off to the gate, Sinan said that the 1-month contract was still valid and wanted Yin Shu to reconsider the matter. She had only pulled her suitcase a short distance when Yin Shu suddenly ran back and linked arms with Sinan. He was surprised and didn't understand what was happening when Yin Shu's sister appeared. Yin Shu introduced Nan to her sister as her boyfriend. Taken by surprise, he stammered and nodded, introducing himself. Afterward, all three went upstairs. Sinan and Yin Shu quickly tore off all the demarcation tape and hid the contract that was still on the chair. When her sister came out of the bathroom, she saw the two of them seemingly being intimate and was utterly stunned and embarrassed. Then, she separated them and asked them identical questions to see if they were truly a couple. From their previous interactions, they must have had some telepathic connection because both answered everything correctly. It seemed Yin Shu's sister was very satisfied with Sinan's answers. Yin Shu's sister suddenly received a work call requesting to check on some production related to statistics, but she wasn't specialized in it. Hearing this, Sinan, who happened to be an expert in that field, offered to help her. The two got to work. With Nan's personality, expertise, and working methods, there was nothing to complain about. In a rush, her sister was even stunned by his top-notch work. At bedtime, Shu let her sister sleep in her room and said she would sleep in Nan's room. As she opened the door and walked in, she saw him taking off his shirt, so she quickly closed the door, saying she wanted to sleep with her sister, but her sister didn't agree. Shu reluctantly had to share a room with Nan. He continued to propose the marriage contract he had suggested earlier, but Shu still couldn't agree to that request. Shu suddenly remembered that earlier that afternoon, because her sister had arrived so unexpectedly and seen the suitcase, she had lied, saying she was going to throw out the trash and had left it at the gate. So she rushed down to find it. Nan followed her, and the security guard directed them to the management office, where they managed to retrieve the suitcase, but a very important toy was missing. Nan said that she should go look for it the next morning before the trash truck came. There was a chance she'd find it. Back in the room, unable to sleep, Nan turned on the light and asked Shu to repeat her thesis from before, but Shu couldn't remember. Nan then showed off his extraordinary memory, commenting on Shu's thesis. After he talked for a while, her eyes were tightly shut. Nan called out to her, but she didn't respond. The next morning, Shu startled awake to find herself lying in bed and heard arguing outside. Thinking everything had been exposed, she ran out to see, only to find that the two were practicing for her sister's debate, and her sister was even praising Nan. Just as she was about to go back inside to get ready for something, her sister pulled a piece of paper from Shu's pile of clothes and discovered she hadn't graduated. She scolded Shu harshly, even saying she was smart but had a dumb younger sister. Hearing this, Nan immediately stepped in to defend Shu. When she heard his words, her sister became silent and even said she wanted to move out because she couldn't stand seeing the two of them being so affectionate. After her sister left, Shu looked at her watch and saw that the trash truck was about to leave. She couldn't find her item, but when she got there, she saw Nan was already there. Not only that, he even got into the trash truck to look for her item, getting his face and clothes completely dirty. Seeing such a clean person like him, who always had his own principles, doing something like that for her, Shu was touched and told Nan to go home and stop looking. On the way back, Shu saw a little girl holding her toy and tried to ask for it back, but she couldn't. After a while of unsuccessful attempts, Nan lured the little girl by having her hold grass in one hand and money in the other for him. Then he grabbed the rabbit and ran off. Shu then chased after Nan and got the rabbit back. It turned out to be a recording toy with her deceased father's voice. Seeing her smile happily, Nan seemed to understand Shu a little better, realizing that his efforts to get her to sign the contract were because he hadn't thought things through carefully and was still sloppy in his approach. Shu asked why Nan helped her and treated her so well. He thought for a moment, then placed his hand on her head and said, "Because you deserve it." Because of that touch, Shu seemed to feel a warmth from this man, so she opened her mouth and agreed to Nan's marriage agreement, which surprised him greatly. Inside the house, they began to discuss the contract. Nan even said he would transfer the house title to Shu for free as her compensation. Not only that, the contract also mentioned not having intimate physical contact, such as holding hands, hugging, or kissing. Hearing this, Shu was too embarrassed, so she immediately grabbed a pen and signed without listening to another word. At the hospital, Nan informed his grandfather that he and Shu would get married without holding a wedding ceremony. The grandfather was extremely upset and disagreed. The two even started arguing using statistical data. After a while, the grandfather wanted to ask Shu's opinion. Being on Nan's side, why would Shu agree with her grandfather? After listening to his grandfather's explanation for a while, Nan understood his feelings and agreed to do as he said. On the way back, Nan divided the tasks for both of them to prepare for the wedding ceremony. Shu was extremely awkward because she still didn't know how to explain it reasonably to her sister. When she arrived, it seemed difficult, but Shu's sister only asked a few questions and then agreed to her marriage, thinking that she had grown up and didn't want to interfere with her personal decisions. The scene shifts back home. Shu was sitting and looking for a wedding venue when Nan returned. As she was about to show him, Nan accidentally touched Shu's hand. She startled, stunned as emotions surged. Then Nan said he had violated the contract and had to compensate the other party 100 yuan at the place to learn about wedding ceremony formats. Looking at the album, Shu remembered the image of her playing happily with her father on the beach. Her father showed her a white house for a wedding ceremony. Shu happily replied that she would choose a place like that for her wedding in the future. She really wanted to have a wedding on the beach with that white house, but thinking of Nan, she wanted to let him decide. Nan said, "As long as you like it, it's fine." And then Shu decided to hold a simpler wedding. Sitting at the breakfast table, seeing there was only one cup of milk left, Yun Shu offered it to Sinan. Sinan, in turn, split it with her. Yun Shu then accidentally spilled some milk, and as she quickly reached for a tissue, Sinan's hand inadvertently touched hers. Both felt awkward and quickly pulled their hands back. In the afternoon, while engrossed in her painting, Yun Shu received a call from her sister, urging her to go to the wedding venue to practice the ceremony process. Yun Shu glanced at her watch, startled, realizing she had already missed the time. Rushing to the venue, Sinan told the two sisters to go inside, first while he waited for his friend who was going to be his best man. Yun Shu, in turn, asked her sister to be her bridesmaid. A luxurious car pulled up in front of him, and out stepped a handsome man in fancy clothes. When Yun Shu saw him, her mouth dropped open as she realized he was Liu Yu, a very popular TV actor. Yun Shu's sister turned to look and froze, remembering a time abroad when she had gotten drunk and spent the night with that man. She quickly rushed into the dressing room, flustered, trying to figure out how to talk to Liu Yu. Yun Shu went inside to call her sister, but her sister said she was busy, took the ceremony process document from Yun Shu, and left first. Back home, while busy with work, her sister received a call to check a contract. But when she opened the process document Yun Shu had given her on her desk, she was stunned. It turned out Yun Shu had mistakenly given her the marriage contract with Sinan. Downstairs in the building, Yun Shu and Sinan were practicing for the wedding ceremony. Watching his every move, Yun Shu felt incredibly nervous, her embarrassment showing on her face. Just as they were about to practice the kiss, Yun Shu suddenly received a call from her sister, telling her to come find her. As soon as she arrived, she was questioned by her sister about the contract. Her sister also found out about Yun Shu being scammed out of all her money by her cousin. Her sister disagreed with Yun Shu's reckless actions, saying that Sinan deliberately used the house to trick Yun Shu into signing a self-sale contract. Yun Shu tried hard to defend Sinan. Her sister didn't say anything more, just told her that she would handle the house matter herself, and that the wedding between Yun Shu and Sinan must be canceled. Yun Shu dejectedly went home and told Sinan that her sister knew everything and didn't approve of their relationship. Sinan said that he wasn't forcing her to go through with it. If they couldn't have the wedding, he would figure out a way to explain it to his grandfather. He said he would give her time to think until the day of the wedding. Back in her room, Yun Shu was in a complete deadlock, not knowing how to resolve this matter. On one side was the grandfather she deeply loved, and on the other was her sister. The next day, Yun Shu continued to go to her sister to negotiate about the marriage, but her sister still disagreed and even said she would cut off their sisterly relationship if Yun Shu stubbornly insisted on going through with his contract. Back home, Yun Shu again sank into despair, facing her grandfather's joy and her sister's urging. Yun Shu said she would resolve all the issues clearly for her sister the next day. Early the next morning, Sinan went to Yun Shu's room but couldn't find her. He tried calling her, but it didn't work, so he rushed to her sister Yunlan's house. As soon as he opened the door, her sister started rambling, saying she would unilaterally cancel the contract with Sinan. When she heard her sister was missing, Yunlan hastily called Yi and Lin Nu, but both of them searched for Yun Shu at the school and hospital and couldn't find her anywhere. Yunlan went back to her house to look through the belongings Yun Shu had left behind for any clues. Yunlan accidentally saw the wedding quotation and even criticized Sinan, saying how could she trust him with her sister if he organized such a shabby wedding. Sinan suddenly saw a drawing in Yun Shu's trash can. Yunlan saw the wedding venue photo album that Yun Shu left on the table. Both realized that the location in the drawing and in the photo was the same. It was also the place where their father used to take the two sisters to play, so they decided to go there. Yun Shu was sitting alone on the beach, pondering life. The two arrived. Sinan said he would cancel the contract, wouldn't hold the wedding, and would explain everything clearly to his grandfather. Sinan said he was too selfish, not paying attention to Yun Shu's feelings, not noticing that Yun Shu always thought of him. After that, the two sisters said they would go home by themselves. Sinan went home to pack his belongings to move them to Yun Shu's place, but he seemed full of regret. Yun Shu told her sister that she wanted to go back and talk to Sinan to find her own answers. Hearing this, Yunlan didn't say anything more, but she insisted that she would not attend their wedding. The next day, Sinan went to find his grandfather to talk about the canceled wedding, but as he was about to speak, Yun Shu opened the door and walked in, telling her grandfather that the wedding would still proceed as planned the next day. Sinan was extremely surprised to hear this. The wedding day also arrived. Yun Shu was standing and talking to her two best friends when Sinan came to find her and told her to go change into her wedding dress. As soon as Lin Nu saw Sinan, he kissed him twice, then called him brother-in-law, which also stunned Sinan. As he opened the door to the bridal preparation room, Sinan was immediately frozen for a few seconds by Yun Shu's beauty in the white dress. While feeling sad that her sister wouldn't attend, Yunlan walked in right after saying she didn't want to be there, but had promised their father that she would personally give Yin-shu away. Yin-lan called Sinan out to talk privately, saying that she had investigated his background and found it wasn't bad. During the contract period, if Sinan made Yin-shu heartbroken and sad, she would make sure he could never get married for the rest of his life. After hearing Sinan say he would love, care for, and look after Yin-shu like family, Yin-lan was somewhat reassured, and Yin-shu, listening to the conversation inside, also smiled happily. When Yin-lan walked out, she bumped into Lu Yu. She deliberately tried to make him sit somewhere else, but he kept moving closer. The bride and groom walked hand in hand into the ceremony, exchanged vows, and then exchanged rings. When it came to the kiss, as they had agreed beforehand, they would pretend to kiss and turn 30 degrees so people wouldn't see. But in that crucial moment, Yin-shu seemed unable to control her emotions and directly kissed Sinan on the lips. Thus, the scene from the beginning of the movie reappeared. Sinan, at this moment, just like Yin-lan, Ji-yi, and Lin Nu, was utterly surprised. It wasn't until everyone stood up and applause erupted that Yin-shu startled and pulled away. After this reunion, Lu Yu continued to pursue Yin-lan. He still didn't understand why everyone cheered excitedly when they saw him, but Yin-lan always shunned him. He even complained that she was from another planet. After her phone was snatched to add him on WeChat, Yin-lan angrily turned and walked away. Outside, Yin-shu was questioned by her two friends about the kiss just now. Yin-shu still tried to deny that it was just fake. Not knowing how to describe it, Ji-yi reenacted it with her friend Lin Nu next to her. Yin-shu asked, startled, if the two of them were serious or just pretending. Lin Nu froze after that kiss, and even asked Ji-yi if she had feelings for him. She wriggled and said, "It's just acting, why so serious?" Then left. After that was the family photo session. Lu Yu kept sticking close to Yin-lan, but she tried to avoid him. The atmosphere among the couples seemed tense, but the family photo was extremely happy. When he helped his grandfather to the car to go home, the grandfather praised the kiss just now as perfect and gave Yin-shu a black card, saying it was a wedding gift. As someone who wasn't greedy, Yin-shu later returned the car to Sinan, saying she couldn't accept it. When he got into the car, seeing Yin-shu asleep, Sinan leaned in to fasten her seatbelt, and suddenly the scene of them kissing flashed in his mind, and he swallowed hard. Returning home after the wedding, an awkward atmosphere suddenly enveloped the two of them. Sinan spoke first, saying he would go shower. As Yin-shu turned on the TV, the first thing she saw was two bears kissing. She quickly changed the channel, only to find another couple kissing. She suddenly felt shy and turned off the TV altogether. The scene of the two of them appeared for the fourth time in Yin-shu's memory. Truly, what's important needs to be repeated 4 times. She sat there giggling foolishly until Sinan called her a second time, and she finally heard him, startled. Yin-shu ran into the bathroom, still embarrassed but also smiling to herself. After showering, Sinan invited Yin-shu to his room to talk. Yin-shu's mind was racing with all sorts of thoughts, making her very nervous. Sinan even told her to put a pillow behind her back, so she wouldn't be uncomfortable later because it might take a while. Yin-shu covered her face and said she wasn't ready. The scene then shifted, revealing that Sinan wanted to tutor Yin-shu and review her thesis. She looked at the test paper in front of her and looked utterly disappointed. She had thought it would be something more fun. Sinan took the test paper that Yin-shu had done to his room to grade. At the end, he even saw a very cute drawing of a plea, which made him smile, thinking this girl was truly interesting. In her own room, Yin-shu was drawing herself as a bride, in a very happy mood. The next morning, after waking up, they both stood in front of the bathroom door, but Sinan let her go in first, saying that from now on, she didn't need to pay attention to the time on the door anymore, and then he tore it off. Yin-shu was wondering about Sinan's attitude today when she saw the rings on her finger and suddenly realized she was married. Ji-yi and Lin Nu were walking together. Ji-yi even said that even though it was a contract, Yin-shu marrying someone like Sinan was truly perfect. Lin Nu asked about Ji-yi's blossoming relationship. She proudly showed off her rosy love. Then she received a breakup text from her boyfriend, and Lin Nu burst out laughing. Sinan took Yin-shu to the mall. She thought they were going shopping, so she told him not to spend money on her. She got another false impression when Sinan led her into a bookstore to buy supplementary books for her thesis review. He even made a list of what to buy and told her to go find them. After running through several floors to find books, they reached the exit. Sinan heard a rumbling from Yin-shu's stomach, so he took her to eat. At the restaurant, she wanted fried chicken, but it wasn't on the menu. He still decided to ask the restaurant to make him a portion of fried chicken. An acquaintance of theirs saw this and agreed, but was then scolded by the restaurant manager. Yin-shu, hearing this, immediately spoke up to defend the person, but she was also scolded by the manager for talking so much without knowing anything. Sinan went out and used his statistical data to argue with the manager to defend Yin-shu, seeing that Sinan always protected her. Back home, Yin-shu asked him if he also thought she was useless. Sinan just smiled and gently said it was only because she hadn't found the right place yet and promised that within the one-year contract, he would help her find direction in her life. Sinan also said that in his eyes, she wasn't useless. Hearing those words also made Yunshu happier and more optimistic. Yunshu confided in Ji, saying that Sinan was a very good person, handsome, rich, chivalrous, and charming. Hearing this, Ji thought that Yunshu liked Sinan, but she still refused to admit it. After a series of rapid-fire questions, Yunshu fell into the trap and said she liked Sinan. Back home, while acting like a dutiful wife folding clothes, Yunshu couldn't help but bury her face in Sinan's clothes. When he came home and saw this scene, he called out Yunshu's name, startling her and making her drop all the clothes. He asked if she had just rubbed her face with his clothes, and she said she was just checking if they were clean. Sinan walked into the room to add a clause to the contract, asking Yunshu to sign it. But at this moment, in Yunshu's eyes, Sinan was like a god in her life, so she gazed at him intensely, not noticing that Sinan was also looking at her. Due to the close proximity and Yunshu's intense gaze, Sinan slowly leaned closer and kissed Yunshu on the lips. Sinan tapped Yunshu's head. It turned out she had been imagining it all along. Her head was in the clouds, so she even signed the wrong name. While eating breakfast, Yunshu kept staring at every detail and movement of Sinan, giggling foolishly. Sinan also found Yunshu's behavior strange and didn't understand why. After that, he went to school with her, saying that Yunshu needed extra tutoring. Upon entering the classroom door, he saw that the students wouldn't let Yunshu sit with them. Then he went over to that spot and told the other student that they were there to study, not for a fashion show. So he asked them to move their bag somewhere else and called Yunshu to sit there. The whole class was impressed and started talking about how much the teacher cared about Yunshu, not knowing that she was actually his wife, not to mention it. During the lecture, Yunshu still foolishly gazed at the god of her life. Studying while staring at a guy like that, she probably didn't get any information into her head. At lunchtime, when he saw Yunshu standing in line for food, Sinan took her to a restaurant to eat, telling her to eat a lot so her brain could develop. While eating, he even helped Yunshu remove a grain of rice stuck on her face, making her so shy that she buried her head in her food. At Ji's dorm, after recounting everything to her friend, Ji commented that Yunshu smelled. Yunshu thought she really smelled bad and figured Sinan must have smelled it too. Ji said it was the smell of love. What other smell could it be? Yunshu also admitted that she seemed to have feelings for Sinan, but was afraid he didn't like her because they were in a contractual relationship. That evening, back home, Yunshu followed Ji's advice and gave Sinan a love signal. He wondered why Yunshu kept staring at him lately. She changed the subject and said she had a gift for him. Yunshu brought out 2 sets of clothes and said they were matching outfits. She bought them because they were on sale. Sinan took a set, thanked her, and went into his room, while Yunshu was overjoyed that her crush accepted her gift. The next day, during a lecture, Yunshu heard some random guy in the back talking down about Sinan. He even said, "How much money can you make with some math and statistics? You can make more money playing games." Sinan was lecturing when he heard the talking and turned around to ask. The young guy stood up and questioned him with a rude and condescending attitude towards math. Sinan explained in the voice of a true professor, so a dimwit wouldn't understand. He said that math is incredibly important. Computers were created from math, and even games require math. Without math, the guy's game squad would probably only be able to play rock, paper, scissors right now. Hearing this, the whole class laughed contemptuously at the guy and applauded Sinan's coolness. He returned to his office and saw a colleague being scolded by her mother, who had come all the way there because she wanted a divorce, saying it would greatly affect her in the future. Afterward, the two of them also sat at a cafe and talked. Sinan even wondered how divorce would affect women, and his colleague explained it to him. Perhaps because of this, when he returned home, all his actions were aimed at maintaining distance from Yunshu. Seeing this, she seemed uncomfortable, not knowing what she had done wrong. He said that their relationship would definitely have negative effects, so they needed to keep their distance. The scene shifts, and the guy Liu Yu comes to Yunlan's workplace, planning to pursue her. He gets kicked in the foot every time, but doesn't learn. He even pretends he will make Yunlan like him within 2 months and will be able to enter her house. Friends are always the most enthusiastic relationship advisors, so Yunshu goes to Ji, and Lin Nu to tell them about Sinan's strange attitude. They both insist that Sinan has feelings for Yunshu. Hearing this makes her feel happier. She takes her wedding photos to school to find Sinan, but accidentally bumps into another teacher, who sees the photos of Sinan and Yunshu, but then quickly turns and throws the photo away. When she gets home, Sinan is angry with Yunshu for not listening to him. Yunshu believes that because she isn't good enough for Sinan, he doesn't want many people to know about their relationship. Hearing this, Sinan becomes even angrier because he can't understand where Yunshu got such a conclusion from. He explains clearly that he is afraid that later, After the contract ends, it will negatively affect the reputation of a girl like Yin Shu, afraid that she will have difficulty in love and marriage in the future. Hearing this, Yin Shu's eyes well up with tears because she has clearly realized that Nan has only ever considered her a partner in the contract. Yin Shu seemed to be in a bad mood, so the next morning Nan went to her room to talk, but she was nowhere to be found, and her belongings were gone. Yin Shu goes to Ji Yi's place to complain, and then the two go out to eat. Yin Shu sees a hiring advertisement and goes to talk to them and apply for a job selling beer at a supermarket. She has even arranged accommodation for employees, as is a habit for Yin Shu. He finishes showering and calls Yin Shu, but suddenly realizes she is not there anymore. Liu Yu goes to Yin Lan's house, but is not allowed in. While standing and knocking, the security guard suddenly taps him on the shoulder. Being a master of diplomacy, he quickly sits down at a table and drinks with those people, even saying that Yin Lan is his girlfriend who is sulking and won't let him in. Feeling uncomfortable inside the house, she opens the door to make him leave, but Liu Yu takes advantage of the fact that there are people there and successfully makes Yin Lan open the door and run inside, and even sits down to watch a movie he started with her. Yet, Yin Lan fell asleep without knowing when. When she woke up and didn't see Liu Yu anymore, Nan felt a bit empty. Meanwhile, Yin Shu is eating breakfast and suddenly realizes that today is the weekend and she needs to visit her grandfather. Nan arrives and is about to talk about Yin Shu when she arrives. Afterward, he talks to her and learns that she has found a job selling beer at a supermarket. Nan just thinks she wants to use this method to become more independent. Hearing this, Yin Shu is too annoyed to explain. She receives a call for a sales order. While standing there, she suddenly sees her sister also at the supermarket. Without noticing, she spills the beer, but she doesn't have time to clean it up and runs to hide. Then she bumps into Nan, who has come to give her review questions. With Nan's help, Yin Shu manages to avoid her sister, but is then called over by the manager, scolded, and fired. Just then, Nan overheard everything. He says that firing someone without prior notice is a breach of contract and even claims to be Yin Shu's husband. So the manager gives Yin Shu another chance to continue working. He waits for her until late at night when she finishes work and quietly follows Yin Shu on her way home. Nan goes to his friend's place and vaguely talks about Yin Shu moving out. When his friend asks if he misses her a little, Nan doesn't answer. He tells his friend that if Nan is in love, he can't accept this fact. That night, while working, after a period of deliberation, Nan uses his grandfather as an excuse to text Yin Shu. Both of them text and smile to themselves. If this isn't love, what is it? Yin Shu was selling goods at the supermarket when a drunk man came to harass her, but he was stopped by another man. Yin Shu thanked him and said she had encountered such people many times, so she didn't need to worry about it. He just looked at her with a smile and left. The manager called her and asked her to deliver an order of 20 cases of beer, also saying the customer had requested her delivery. When she arrived, she found out the customer was the man who had helped her at the supermarket. Not only that, he was also the boss at the law office she had visited before, and he hired her as an assistant for the law office. She happily called Nan to tell him about her new job, but she had no idea that the lawyer was someone Nan had asked to help Yin Shu. She visited her grandfather at the hospital. After a while of talking, he asked Yin Shu to help him clean a villa near the beach. That evening, Nan hesitated whether to text Yin Shu, but suddenly received a text from his grandfather. The next morning, Yin Shu went to the villa and started cleaning. She danced around, cleaning while dancing. She was dancing with her eyes closed when she opened them and saw Nan standing in front of her, which startled her. Both were surprised by the other's presence. Afterward, they cleaned together. In another room, there were many things from Nan's childhood. Yin Shu was attracted by a fairy tale book that had been scribbled on. Seeing this, Nan walked over and snatched the book back. Seeing he looked unhappy, Yin Shu asked to leave first. Just as she walked out the door, Nan called Yin Shu back to chase away the lizard at the door. Yin Shu scared him, making Nan's face turn pale. While sitting and happily texting, her colleague next to her told Nan that he was different from before, that he seemed happier and smiled more. She asked if it was because of Yin Shu. Nan also explained everything clearly to his colleague and asked her to keep their relationship a secret. His colleague, being kind and enthusiastic, told Nan how to treat girls, otherwise it was very easy to cause misunderstandings. The next day, both of them picked up their grandfather from the hospital to return home. While preparing dinner in the kitchen, Nan came in and helped her tie her hair. During this time, he also explained to Yin Shu the reason for his strange behavior in the past few days. He didn't want her to suffer social stigma. He also heard that divorce would affect women later, so he wanted to protect her. While cleaning, his grandfather suddenly stood behind her and started talking to her. Yin Shu was still thinking about Nan's reaction when he saw the fairy tale book while cleaning the house. Yin Shu asked her grandfather and learned that it was also Nan's biggest obsession. He recounted that when Nan's mother went on a business trip, she unfortunately passed away. Not wanting him, being so young, to suffer such a huge shock, his grandfather lied and said that Sinan's mother was a mermaid and had returned to the sea. After that, he still found out the truth, and that story became a psychological trauma for Sinan until now. His grandfather agreed to let the two of them get married because he believed that Yunshu would use her kindness and warmth to change Sinan and heal his long-standing wounds. When she went into the room, Yunshu apologized to Sinan and said she didn't intend to rummage through his things. He also apologized for his overreaction. She also comforted him about the mermaid story his grandfather had told. The awkward conflicts between the two were also resolved. Yinlan was watching a movie starring Lu Yu when the doorbell rang. He had come to find her again. As soon as she opened the door, he ran straight into the house. Seeing his face was red, she immediately knew he had been slapped while filming, so she brought out a towel to apply a compress to him. When she accidentally touched him, she found out Lu Yu had a fever, so she went into the kitchen to make ginger tea. Yunshu and Sinan saw that their grandfather was asleep, so they left first. At the beach, Yunshu told Sinan to stop so she could do something and asked him to come find her in 15 minutes. At the appointed time, Sinan went to ask a nearby vendor and was directed to the rocks near the sea. As he approached to find Yunshu, he discovered her sitting on a rock with a fishtail. She smiled and told him that the mermaid hadn't forgotten her promise and had returned to find him. Sinan saw this scene and was not angry at all. Instead, he looked relaxed and amused. On the way home, Sinan opened his mouth and suggested that Yunshu move back into his house. Yunshu nodded, feeling both shy and happy, and dragged her suitcase into the familiar house. The past memories between Yunshu and Sinan flooded back into her mind, making Yunshu feel incredibly comfortable. Yunshu's return also made Sinan happy. He installed a light at the door to make it convenient for her to sleep in, and even replaced all the blankets, sheets, pillows, mattresses, and wardrobes with new ones for her to live more easily. The two looked at each other with eyes that were both touched and shy. After showering and coming out, she saw Sinan watching a movie called Idol, starring Lu Yu. She was very surprised. She asked and found out that Lu Yu had asked Sinan to evaluate his acting. While watching the movie, lost in her thoughts, Sinan asked a question that startled Yunshu. Did she love him? Yunshu stammered and refused. Seeing that Sinan was starting to ask irrelevant questions, she turned off the TV, told him he wasn't suited for these types of movies, and stood up to go into her room. Yunshu officially accepted the job as assistant to Lawyer Meng. Seeing her eagerness to learn, he gave her materials and law books to study. She even read them while eating at home. Seeing Yunshu engrossed in her materials and not paying attention to him, Sinan wanted to get her attention. Unable to sit still watching the movie, he went out and asked if she wanted to use the bathroom because he wanted a shower, even though he never usually asked. She told him to remember to close the door on his way out, which seemed to disappoint him. He decided to wear the matching outfit Yunshu had bought earlier to talk to her and make an impression, but she didn't say anything. Just as he was about to turn away, Yunshu called him back, which visibly excited Sinan. Yunshu complimented him on looking good in the outfit, making his heart soar. He deliberately asked if he could help with anything, but she just told him to turn down the TV volume. Seeing Yunshu constantly mentioning that Lawyer Meng would help her, Sinan forced a smile, feeling very uncomfortable but still having to walk out reluctantly. At the company, after work, Yinlan found Lu Yu waiting for her at the entrance with flowers. A colleague walking by commented that she had a lot of tricks up her sleeve to attract even a celebrity, but Yinlan called her back and shut her up. Sinan went all the way to Lawyer Meng's office to scold him for exploiting Yunshu and affecting their lives. Just as Yunshu walked in, Sinan had to duck under the table to hide. Lawyer Meng intentionally asked Yunshu about the issues Sinan was concerned about, but she said it was okay and didn't affect her at all, leaving Sinan under the table speechless. Fearing that Yunshu wouldn't be happy or would struggle with work, Sinan said he would find a helper for her, but Yunshu refused, saying that doing miscellaneous things made her feel more relaxed. She also advised him to do more little things in life to make it less boring and more interesting. So, Sinan invited Yunshu to go grocery shopping with him. They were even complimented by some old ladies at the supermarket for being handsome and good at calculations, plus having a pretty girlfriend. Sinan admitted to Yunshu that some trivial things in life can indeed make him happier. That afternoon, he overheard a colleague saying that the temperature would drop sharply at night, and Sinan received a text from Yunshu saying she would be working late and coming home late, so he was extremely worried at home. Just as Yunshu was talking, Sinan called Lawyer Meng. He quickly hung up the phone. Seeing Lawyer Meng stammer, Yunshu understood that she didn't get this job out of the blue. He also told Yunshu directly that Sinan had recommended her to him. He also recognized her good work ability and effort, so he hoped Yunshu wouldn't take it to heart. In another scene, Ji is drinking with her new boyfriend. Lin Nu follows and sees this scene. After a while, Ji gets drunk, so he takes her to a hotel. Lin Nu chases after them and arrives just as the door opens. He receives a call from the boyfriend. The boyfriend also opens the door at the same time, saying he wanted to call Lin Nu to take Ji home. Lin Nu goes inside and sees that Ji isn't drunk at all and scolds him for following her, telling him to go home. Lin Nu is extremely hurt by these words and leaves. Yin Shu is about to go home and is given a jacket by Lawyer Meng. Just then, Sinan arrives, takes off the jacket, and puts a warm coat on Yin Shu. Lawyer Meng also invites them to eat snail noodles. At the restaurant, seeing how close they are, Sinan looks openly jealous. Back home, Yin Shu discovers that Sinan has a cold, so she cooks him a bowl of ginger soup, but Sinan refuses, feeling shy. Seeing her about to take it away, Sinan calls out, saying he has to use his body to prove the unreliability of the method of drinking ginger soup to cure illness. The next morning, when he wakes up, he even sees the ginger soup bottle with a note that says "Cued" on the paper. How could Sinan possibly resist this? At the law office, Lawyer Meng is assigning his staff to handle a divorce case for a woman named Gao Mei. She comes to the office and is furious, disagreeing with the proposed mediation. Seeing Lawyer Meng speak up, she becomes even more angry and throws a cup of hot water on Yin Shu's leg. So Lawyer Meng takes Yin Shu to the hospital. Hearing Ms. Gao Mei's story, Yin Shu advises her to calm down. Hearing Yin Shu's words, she feels more relaxed. Sinan hears the news and also goes to the hospital. When he arrives, he even argues with Lawyer Meng, wanting to feed Yin Shu porridge, but Sinan finds fault, saying the porridge makes Yin Shu's face oily. Seeing this scene, she is also helpless and decides to just go without eating. Since he has to act in a drama related to law, Lu Yu is arranged to be Yun Lan's assistant for 3 months to gain experience. Hearing this, she is extremely uncomfortable, but still has to accept because her boss Yun assigned it. Yin Lan gives him a box of lawsuit files and asks him to write a report within 3 days. He finds it a bit tough, but for the sake of pursuing a girl, Lu Yu still agrees. Back home, Sinan helps Yin Shu reapply the wound dressing to avoid water while she showers. Yin Shu is captivated by Sinan's thoughtfulness. Waiting for Yin Shu, who takes a long time in the shower, Sinan stands in front of the bathroom door to ask. Yin Shu says she fell, but is okay. Hearing this, he is very worried, but she won't let him in because she's only wearing a towel. Hearing Yin Shu struggle to stand up a few times, Sinan directly pushes the door open. Yin Shu looks up and sees that he has his eyes closed. He asks her where she is so he can come help her, and then carries her back to the room. Ji Yi and Lin Nu also come to visit Yin Shu at home, still in a cold war with each other. On their way out, the two also argue for a while. Ji Yi still thinks Lin Nu has feelings for her because they were ex-boyfriends, but Lin Nu firmly refuses and says he only hopes Ji Yi is happy, just as he hopes Yin Shu is happy. Yin Shu goes to get some documents and almost falls. Sinan becomes more and more concerned about Yin Shu. Looking at the pile of documents Lawyer Meng has given her, Sinan gets annoyed. He can't help but wonder and calls Lawyer Meng to ask if the accident insurance was only bought for Yin Shu or if the whole company has it. Lawyer Meng reluctantly says that everyone has it. After hanging up the phone, he called to get statistics and buy accident insurance for all employees. After finishing their meal, Sinan even helped Yin Shu work on the case files for Ms. Gao Mei's divorce. Yin Shu blamed herself for making Lawyer Meng take on a case with such a low win rate, causing him to suffer his first loss in his career. On Yun Lan's side, Lu Yu continued to persistently flirt, but it had no effect. After work, he even asked her to reenact a scene from the movie he was about to film. Yun Lan's analytical thinking and reasoning completely captivated Lu Yu. He rushed over to hug Yun Lan and praise her, with her subordinates watching. Lu Yu said he was determined to win Yun Lan's heart. Sinan and Yin Shu worked together to analyze Ms. Gao Mei's divorce case, finding clues useful for the lawsuit. Yin Shu was happy and wanted to call Lawyer Meng to inform him. Afterward, the negotiation between the two parties took place. Thanks to the evidence found regarding Ms. Gao Mei's husband hiding assets, fearing the truth would be exposed, the other side accepted Lawyer Meng's mediation conditions. Ms. Gao Mei even called to thank Yin Shu. Hearing about the successful mediation, Yin Shu was extremely happy. Lawyer Meng also called and said he wanted to invite her to his celebration dinner. Uncomfortable with his wife going alone, Sinan followed her to the party, but Yin Shu introduced Sinan to everyone as her cousin. Sitting and watching everyone have fun, and even pairing Yin Shu with Lawyer Meng, Sinan felt uncomfortable. The party hadn't even ended when Sinan stood up, wanting to take Yin Shu home. Lawyer Meng approached where Sinan was standing and said he would compete fairly with Sinan to pursue Yin Shu, which made Sinan extremely upset and grabbed Lawyer Meng by the collar. When Yin Shu came to find them, she saw the two of them looking like they were about to kiss, so she left them alone to continue. Sinan wanted to ask for advice from his friend Lu Yu about his love life. Being a true bad boy, Lu Yu offered some questionable suggestions. Sinan even presented a list of things he would do for Yun Shu's upcoming birthday, such as attending a seminar and taking tests to reinforce her knowledge. Lu Yu was stunned after hearing this and said it was torture, not a birthday celebration. The scene shifts, and Sinan is supervising Yun Shu taking a test. She even intentionally sang happy birthday and drew a cake on the test paper for him to see, reminding him of her birthday, but Sinan didn't say anything. As he was about to leave the room, Sinan said he would try to come home early for Yun Shu's upcoming birthday, which made her overjoyed. She woke up and went to work, and Sinan offered to give her a ride. But after driving for a bit, the road was too congested. Lawyer Meng drove by and offered to give Yun Shu a ride to work. Feeling very uncomfortable, Sinan deliberately bumped into the back of the car in front and asked Lawyer Meng to stay and deal with it, while he took a motorcycle to take Yun Shu. While getting water at the company, Lawyer Meng suddenly overheard two subordinates bad-mouthing Yunlan, even saying she used tricks to seduce him. At the same time, Yunlan walked by and suddenly heard Lawyer Meng standing up to defend her. She was very happy, so she walked in front of the staff and admitted that she was the lawyer's girlfriend. She also accepted his feelings from this moment. Yun Shu was helped by Lawyer Meng in finding her cousin. She also told Sinan about it. So the next morning, he went to find Lawyer Meng to take on the task of helping Yun Shu himself, not wanting Lawyer Meng to interfere. Lawyer Meng insisted on helping Yun Shu and even said that after the contract between Sinan and Yun Shu ended, he would officially define his relationship with her, which made Sinan very flustered. At the hospital, Lin Nu suddenly saw the boyfriend Ji was dating visiting the mother of another girl. He returned and talked to Ji, learning that she wanted to go to the boyfriend's company to visit him. When she arrived, she saw him being intimate with another girl. Fearing Ji would be hurt, Lin Nu had deliberately stopped her and waited for the other girl to leave. Ji happily greeted the boyfriend, but the other girl suddenly turned back, saying she had forgotten her phone and introduced herself as the boyfriend's girlfriend. Realizing she had fallen for another bad boy, Ji froze, and Lin Nu quickly pulled her away. After investigating, Sinan had followed and tracked down Yun Shu's cousin. When he was discovered, the cousin pushed Sinan down and ran away headfirst. Sinan saw two police officers right in front of him, but he remembered what Yun Shu had told him before, that she didn't want her cousin to go to jail. So he had remained silent, watched him, and left. Knowing it was Yun Shu's birthday that day, Lawyer Meng had intentionally asked her to help arrange things at a restaurant, but mainly wanted to create a surprise for Yun Shu. Lawyer Meng played the guitar and sang, which made her feel very relaxed. Then he proactively confessed his feelings, but Yun Shu refused because she had already fallen for Sinan. After returning home, Sinan was trying to create a surprise for Yun Shu. As she reached the door, Yun Shu saw Lawyer Meng chasing after her, holding her hand to return the phone she had forgotten. Coincidentally, Sinan saw this scene, so he went back into the house, no longer in the mood to celebrate her birthday. Yun Shu went inside and didn't see anything, nor did she see Sinan, so she quietly returned to her room. The next morning, Sinan went out early and also refused Yun Shu's offer to go together. He went back to the relationship expert Lu Yu, who told him he was in love, but Sinan didn't believe it. Ji was in the dorm with Lin Nu, angry about encountering a scoundrel, so she played games to release stress. A package was delivered. When she opened it, it was the gift Ji had given her boyfriend earlier. Seeing it returned, she couldn't hold back her emotions anymore and burst into tears on Lin Nu's shoulder. The scene shifted to the hospital, and it turned out that boyfriend was just helping his ex-girlfriend comfort her sick mother. Seeing that Ji misunderstood, he had refused to help any further, but the ex-girlfriend still earnestly pleaded. Since the day he confessed, Lawyer Meng had become closer to Yun Shu and even took photos of her while she was reading. After officially becoming Yunlan's boyfriend, Lu Yu had even more opportunities to show his infatuation with his girlfriend. The two were about to go out to dinner together when Lu Yu was surrounded by a group of girls taking pictures. Seeing this, Yunlan was unhappy, so she went home alone first. Lu Yu went to find her, but she said she wasn't feeling well and told him to leave first. Yun Shu returned home and saw cake in the refrigerator. Knowing that Sinan hadn't forgotten her birthday, she was very happy and even cooked dinner while waiting for Sinan to return, but he said he was a little tired. Suddenly, the power went out, but there was nothing wrong with the fuse box. When Yun Shu heard Sinan ask, she suddenly remembered she hadn't paid the electricity bill. She held a candle and found her way out, only to see Sinan sitting in front of the cake, with the candles lit, waiting for her. Yun Shu also explained about coming home late the previous night. When she learned that Lawyer Meng had only come to her house to return her phone, Sinan seemed to feel more relieved. The scene shifted to them together at the supermarket. Yun Shu received a phone call, and when she heard it was Lawyer Meng, Sinan intentionally moved closer to eavesdrop. Yun Shu then went to meet him because of an unexpected work matter. Sinan followed and saw the two of them being too cheerful. So he went over and scolded Lawyer Meng for taking up Yin Shu's time. Just as they were about to argue, Lawyer Meng's work partner actually arrived, which made Sinan a little embarrassed, so he left immediately. Visiting their grandfather, the two sat on either side of him. Suddenly, he said he wanted to eat clams but couldn't buy any, so Sinan and Yin Shu went to the beach to catch them. She even guided him on how to dig for clams. Remembering what Lu Yu had said about confirming feelings by kissing, Sinan tried, but went overboard and headbutted Yin Shu. The two even laughed and talked together while walking on the beach. Yin Lan was sitting and looking at pictures of herself and Lu Yu spreading online when she received a gift. Opening it, she found a bizarre doll that startled her. Before, An Meng had given Sinan a blood pressure and heart rate monitor and had given the report results to Yin Shu to see. After looking at the time, as well as Sinan's corresponding emotional index, Yin Shu was delighted and immediately texted Sinan to meet. At the same time, Sinan had An Meng send in the report to see, so he also texted Yin Shu to meet. While on the way, Yin Shu was stopped by her cousin, who said he wanted her to meet someone. Waiting for too long and not seeing Yin Shu, Sinan went to An Meng's office to ask. Sensing there was a problem, the two checked the security cameras and saw the cousin and Yin Shu together. It turned out he had taken out a high-interest loan and was being chased for repayment, so he wanted to find Yin Shu to ask her to contribute money to pay off the debt. Seeing his passion for gambling and the fact that he had swindled her money, she refused outright, saying that he didn't need to repay her money and that he should take care of his own business, and then left, but he grabbed her. One of the guys there punched him, and Yin Shu, seeing this, felt sympathy and stayed. An Meng and Sinan also found the place at this time and rushed inside. He intended to take Yin Nian with him, but they were stopped and asked to talk clearly. After reviewing the cousin's loan agreement, An Meng said it was completely legal and there was no problem. With no way to resolve the situation, with a person like Sinan, besides love, nothing was difficult for him. With his knowledge, Sinan calculated and explained to the loan shark and successfully negotiated a reasonable compensation. After leaving, the boss told his subordinates that they couldn't get money from people with this level of intelligence. Back home, seeing Sinan's hand was injured, Yin Shu sat and bandaged it for him. Sinan was about to say something when Yin Shu received a phone call from An Meng. While talking and thanking An Meng, Sinan suddenly kissed Yin Shu and said that he liked her. A little surprised, but also what she wanted, Yin Shu was very happy. After being heartbroken, Ji Yi went with Lin Nu to relieve her sadness. The two had also unconsciously rekindled their old love. The next morning, Yin Shu went to find Ji Yi and told her about her newfound love. That early that morning, thinking she would get another kiss, Sinan asked her if she was feeling hot. Probably thinking her lips were dry, he gave Yin Shu lip balm, making her very disappointed. That night, while sitting, Sinan said that now that they were in love, the contract needed to be revised a bit, and even suggested that Yin Shu sleep with him, making her spit out her water. To be sure, Yin Shu asked again, and he said there was no problem, right? Then she nodded repeatedly, but she wanted to too, no kidding. Lying in bed, Sinan asked Yin Shu what position she liked, making her stammer. He said he meant sleeping position. Yin Shu's face was not innocent at all. If he didn't love her, it was fine. But with the loving, Sinan was shy and embarrassed, hesitating for a long time before lying close to her. Not even 5 minutes later, Sinan was asleep and didn't know anything, which made Yin Shu very disappointed. After hearing her colleague's advice that they needed time to date and build a relationship, Sinan took it to heart and called and asked Yin Shu to go see a movie that night. She wanted to go, but still had to play hard to get. Yin Shu answered the phone very coldly, but as soon as she hung up, she became very excited. Sitting in the movie theater, feeling bored, Yin Shu fell asleep on Sinan's shoulder. When the movie ended, Sinan expressed to Yin Shu that she should accept him because he didn't know much about love and was a bit dry, but he was willing to change for her. Hearing that, what more could she ask for? Yin Shu smiled widely and then leaned in to kiss Sinan. Before going to bed, they even sent each other finger hearts. After patching things up, Ji Yi and Lin Nu still weren't used to their relationship, starting again after 2 years of friendship. Ji Yi was still thinking about her ex-boyfriend, but seeing how good Lin Nu was to her, she chose to ignore that guy. Sinan and Yin Shu took Yin Shu's cousin to Yun Lan's office to apologize. Seeing him, she was furious and wanted to call the police, but he said he'd found a job and promised to pay back the money he owed the two sisters. Lu Yu was also there and saw Yun Lan being stubborn, so he defended the cousin but was scolded by her and chased out. After talking for a while, Yun Lan agreed to let the cousin work and pay back the money gradually. After going outside, Sinan told Lu Yu to spend time with Yun Lan and adapt, otherwise she would hate him more and more. He also told Lu Yu about his newfound relationship with Yin Shu. Lu Yu even taught Sinan how to woo a girl. Trying it out at home, Sinan was grabbed by Yin Shu and his glasses flew off. Scared, he returned to his room, and Yin Shu came over to ask to sleep with him. Sinan gave her Yin Shu's old diary, admitting that he still didn't understand her and couldn't grasp romantic things. Love seemed difficult for Sinan. Yin Shu didn't say anything and then kissed Sinan, causing him to freeze. After Yin Shu's story was posted online, it received a lot of attention. She couldn't believe her eyes as the number of visitors increased. Before she could be happy for long, Yin Shu received a letter from a law firm because she was being sued for copyright issues due to the dialogue in her story. After that, she went to lawyer Meng and Yunlan to find a solution. The account that was suing her on Weibo was named Hunan. They wanted Yin Shu to publicly apologize and pay 200,000 in copyright fees, but everyone couldn't contact the owner of that account. That night, while talking to Sinan, the other person replied to Yin Shu's message and agreed to meet. At the meeting place, Yin Shu met Lin Chu. Before, she and Ji had talked to Lin Chu at the mall, and the two recognized each other. Yin Shu sent a message to Si Huanan, and Lin Chu's phone rang. It turned out she was Si Huanan. Yin Shu bowed and apologized profusely for the copyright issues. Lin Chu didn't take it to heart, saying she had come to tell her that she would withdraw the lawsuit, and everything was just a misunderstanding. Lin Chu even suggested wanting to collaborate with her to write comics. While sitting and working with his colleagues, Sinan was paired with Lin Chu next to him. They even mentioned the fame of the two when they were in school together. Lin Chu seemed to have liked Sinan before, so being paired with him made her a little happy. Sinan then said that he was married, which surprised everyone. Lin Chu looked disappointed and even told Sinan that she was very curious about what kind of person she was, who was able to make him change so much. Lin Chu called Yin Shu to go shopping with her to relieve her mood. Yin Shu found out the story and asked Lin Chu to go for a drink with her. Yin Shu listened carefully as she told her about her memories with her dream man, saying comforting words without knowing that the person was Sinan. While sitting and reading in his room, Yin Shu suddenly came in and asked about Sinan's first kiss. He said she was his first kiss. Yin Shu said he was also her first kiss and then leaned in for a kiss. Before returning to her room, she had to kiss him again to reach the 10 million kiss goal. The next day, Sinan and Lin Chu were just getting off work and walking to the parking lot when they were almost hit by a car backing up. So Sinan shielded Lin Chu. At the same time, Ji Yi, returning for school with Yin Shu, saw that scene. Sinan introduced Lin Chu, saying she was his wife. Lin Chu also realized that the friend she had been hearing about was Yin Shu. Both were in an extremely awkward situation, not knowing how to talk. While she was sleeping, Yin Shu was woken up by a call from Ji. Yin Shu hastily ran over, unable to care about what Sinan was about to say. Hearing Ji say that Lin Nu wanted to break up, Yin Shu was very surprised. She remembered that at the hospital, during a quick answer game, Ji had chosen that boyfriend instead of Lin Nu. He felt that they hadn't cut ties completely enough to be together, so he demanded a breakup. Yin Shu also told Ji about how the person Lin Chu was in love with was Sinan. Ji said that if Sinan really had feelings for Lin Chu, how could he have married Yin Shu? She texted Sinan, who was at the office, to meet that night. Lin Chu, who was next to him, said she would be having dinner with lawyer Meng that night. So she asked Sinan to bring Yin Shu along. He also texted Yin Shu to ask her opinion. Ji, who was sitting next to her, read the message and even said that Lin Chu was challenging Yin Shu. So she took her to the mall, where Lin Chu had previously bought clothes to shop for a new dress. Sinan waited outside the door to pick up Yin Shu and take her to the restaurant. Just as they walked in, it was a coincidence that both of them were wearing the exact same dress, suddenly making the atmosphere awkward. While ordering, the atmosphere didn't seem very comfortable either. Whatever Yin Shu ordered, Lin Chu would say that Sinan couldn't eat it. Yin Shu could only smile wryly because she was the wife but didn't know what her husband could eat. The next day, Lin Chu invited Yin Shu out, claiming to bring a manuscript, but instead analyzed for Yin Shu that she and Sinan were not compatible and could not be together. Lin Chu also knew that their relationship was only a contract, and Yin Shu said that contract didn't matter anymore since they genuinely wanted to be together. She hoped Lin Chu would understand the boundary between work and life, and that the two could collaborate happily. Hearing Yin Shu so confident, Lin Chu didn't know what to say and just shook hands, watching Yin Shu leave. Sinan was cooking with Yin Shu when he received a call from a colleague asking why he withdrew from the research project with Lin Chu. Fearing Yin Shu would worry, he hung up and said it was nothing. Yin Shu knew he did that for her, so she comforted him, saying she wanted to become a helpful wife for him and not a burden. So the two kissed again. The doorbell rang, and it turned out that Ji had come to Yin Shu to complain about catching Lin Nu holding a nurse's hand in the office. Sinan, who was sitting next to them, was also horrified and even demanded to sleep with Yin Shu. In the middle of the night, Sinan texted and called Yin Shu to come to his room. She got up 2, 3, 4, 5 times but was discovered and stopped by Ji. In the end, she made Sinan wait while she fell asleep without knowing when. After getting off work, Lin Chu met with Si Nan to talk. She tried her best to prove that she understood Si Nan very well and said that he and Yin Shu would have a hard time getting along because the distance between them was too great. Si Nan said that although their relationship had started as a contract, it had turned into a real marriage, and he truly loved Yin Shu. Hearing this, if she insisted any further, people would say she was thick-skinned, so Lin Chu didn't say anything more. Yin Shu was informed by the doctor that her grandfather had an issue, so she went to the hospital with him. Seeing the missed call, Si Nan called back, but her grandfather gestured not to let Si Nan know. Her grandfather, knowing about Si Nan working with Lin Chu, also told Yin Shu not to worry. Parallel lines like them would never meet at intersection. Yin Shu pretended to listen attentively to him. Just as she was leaving, she ran into Lin Nu. Yin Shu advised him to talk clearly with Ji Yi to resolve the conflict between them. Yin Shu called Ji Yi over, saying she needed help, but it was mostly to talk with Lin Nu and resolve their conflict. But they didn't talk much, only argued. The three went to where Si Nan was working with Lin Chu to spy on them. After a while of whining, they managed to get the location where the two were staying from the hotel staff. When they arrived, they saw Lin Chu entering Si Nan's room to talk. She still didn't understand why a person like him would like Yin Shu. Si Nan said if she wanted him to answer with data, he was ready. From beginning to end, he and Yin Shu had met over 800 times. The percentage of Yin Shu's happiness when she was with him was 83.33%. And when he was with her, the percentage also reached 73.33%. That was a very high number compared to other couples. He advised her to find someone who could compliment herself. Lin Chu wanted to hug Si Nan as a final goodbye, but he only wanted to shake hands. Yin Shu accidentally made a noise. It's unclear why, but Si Nan guessed it was Yin Shu, so he said he had someone he wanted to hug and ran straight out, only to see three people turning around, but not quick enough to hide. He went to Yin Shu, pulled her in, and kissed her right in front of Lin Chu. Not even getting a hug, but having to watch them be affectionate. Too embarrassed, Lin Chu turned and left. Yin Shu's comic was noticed by a famous international author who wanted to invite her to be his new assistant with a 3-year contract abroad. She hesitated and asked her sister because she both wanted to go to do the job she had dreamed of since she was a child and didn't want to leave the love of her life. Yin Shu and Si Nan went to the hospital and received the news that their grandfather's condition was deteriorating and he only had about 2 months left. He wanted to be happy with everyone. Lin Chu also came to visit Si Nan's grandfather and gave him paperwork from a doctor abroad that provided answers about his condition. Seeing there was hope, he was very happy. Because his grandfather would have to go abroad, she said the two should think carefully and give her an answer. Yin Shu had decided that she would not go abroad, giving up her dream to stay with the person she loved. On Yunlan's side, she learned that Lu Yu had injured the cousin because of her. He came to find her, wanting her to continue being a legal advisor for his company so he could consider withdrawing the lawsuit against Lu Yu. Because Lu Yu's career was threatened, Yunlan seemed a bit hesitant. On Yin Shu and Si Nan's side, they were very worried, not knowing whether they should take their grandfather abroad with his current health. Si Nan also told Yin Shu to focus on her upcoming thesis defense, and that day also came. Yin Shu was running late again. Si Nan had been waiting for her at the gate and grabbed her hand, pulling her into the room. Images of the student who was late for the thesis defense from before flashed back. The scene then shifted to Lu Yu and the cousin meeting. Lu Yu was very surprised to see Yunlan acting as the legal representative to settle the lawsuit of her cousin, which also meant that she was helping him against her. He was very angry and left. Yunlan chased after him to explain, but Lu Yu wouldn't listen and became very agitated. So he said goodbye to Yunlan. After completing her thesis defense, Si Nan followed Yin Shu and asked if she wanted to renew her marriage contract with him. To officially become Mrs. Zhua, Yin Shu nodded and told Si Nan that she had reconsidered and asked him to wait for her for a year to go abroad. She also hoped that during that year, Si Nan would take his grandfather for treatment. Action followed action, transitioning straight to an image of the two lying in bed, looking at each other with eyes full of happiness and joy. Yin Lam went to find Lu Yu, hoping he would sign the settlement agreement between the two sides, but he still avoided her, refused, and then left. Lu Yu's lawyer approached him to advise him, even saying that Yin Lam was trying very hard to protect him. She had used all her effort and professional skills to get the cousin to agree to sign the settlement agreement with clauses favorable to Lu Yu. Hearing this, he hastily went to find Yunlan, but she was nowhere to be found, and she didn't answer his calls. The grandfather refused to listen to Si Nan and go abroad for treatment. He didn't want to spend his final days lying in a hospital bed. He also told Si Nan not to tell Yin Shu. He went to meet Lin Nu, wanting to get back together with him, but he refused, even saying that he thought he had let go of this relationship with her. Lin Nu would also be going to Africa for work. The day of his departure arrived. Si Nan saw Yin Shu off, and Yi saw Lin Nu off. Despite trying hard, Yin-shu couldn't persuade him to come back to her. Going into the bathroom at the airport, Yin-shu suddenly saw a meticulously detailed reminder note from Sinan. She couldn't control herself and hastily ran out, abandoning her luggage, took a taxi to the movie theater to find Sinan. Seeing her, he was very surprised. Yin-shu said that he and her grandfather were her important family. Lu Yu went all the way to Yinlan's place to apologize to her, but Yinlan this time also seriously reconsidered their relationship after Lu Yu said goodbye. He said everything he could, but it was still no use, and he could only watch Yinlan leave. Returning home, Yinlan found out she was pregnant and went to meet Yin-shu to tell her, but didn't intend to tell Lu Yu. Sinan and Yin-shu went and knocked on Lu Yu's door. When he heard the news that he was going to be a father, he became extremely optimistic and rushed to change his clothes and go find Yinlan. He ran straight to Yinlan's office door, ignoring the fans surrounding him and taking pictures. Yinlan found out, ran downstairs to the place. Lu Yu held out a ring and proposed to her in front of a lot of people, leaving her utterly surprised. Because she was too embarrassed to be surrounded by so many people, Yinlan pretended to have a stomach ache, and Lu Yu hastily supported her inside, even saying he would evaluate him for 3 months. And if Lu Yu behaved well, she would agree to his proposal. Ji, after learning that Lin Nu was only going to Africa alone, decided to prepare to go there and find the love of her life. The whole family of 5 vacationed together at the villa, happily watching fireworks. The grandfather asked Sinan and Yin-shu how they met. A stream of memories flowed into the heads of the two, from the beginning to when they truly considered each other husband and wife. Loving, protecting, and being happy together. And the movie review ends here. If you enjoyed it, don't hesitate to press like and subscribe to support us. For now, goodbye and see you in the next videos.